Hello everyone, welcome to session 93 of Selenium training. In this session, I am going to explain about database concepts, guys. I'm going to explain the database concepts. So why I'm going to explain the database concepts? In the upcoming session, I'm going to explain how to perform the database testing with Selenium. Okay, with Selenium, we can perform the database testing, guys. In order to understand this concept very well, in order to understand how to perform the database testing with Selenium, first you need to know this database concepts. You should have an idea of this database concepts before actually understanding how to perform the database testing with Selenium. So guys, let's get started with the database concepts in this session. So first to start with, what is database testing? What is database testing? What is database testing? Validating whether the data displayed on the user interface is matching the data that is stored in the database is nothing but database testing. At a high level, if I have to describe the database testing, it's nothing but validating the data on the UI to check whether it is matching with the data that is stored in the database. So validating the data that is displayed on the UI is matching with the data that is stored in the database. Okay, this is nothing but database testing, guys. So here we have some UI application, user interface, where you can see all the options like, let's say there is a functionality here in the UI page that is adding user. Okay, there's functionality in the on the UI that is adding a user, and every application has a database, right? Every application has a database which stores the values, the data. So while adding the user, if I give, let's say it's asking me to give name, location, experience details. While adding a user, this user form is asking me to, and click on the submit button. I provided my name as Motori, location as Hyderabad, experience as some 12 years, let's say. Okay, when I click on the submit button, this data will be stored in the database. This is a database, guys. This data will be stored in the database somewhere. Okay, the same data will be stored in the database somewhere, and as part of the database testing, as a testers, as part of database testing, what we need to validate, we need to check whether the data that is displayed here, after adding the user, what will happen, guys? A record will be added to the application with these details. A user record will be added to the application with these details. When you open that user record, you will see this data, or name as remote location, Hyderabad, experience 12 years. Okay, the same data you will find in the database. Okay, the same data that will be stored in the database. I'll check the data that is displayed on the UI with the data that is stored in the database to see whether the data is matching or not. If it is matching, if this both data sets data are matching, then I can confirm that the application is, there are no issues. In that case, there are no issues with the database. Database is storing the values properly. This kind of testing is known as database testing. If in future, if I modify this, update this data here, even the data that is stored in the database should be modified according to the changes I have done in the UI. So both should be in sync, guys. I need to validate that the data that is displayed on the UI and that is stored in the database are in sync, are similar, are matching with each other. If I delete this record, even the database should remove the data from the database, the data that is stored in the database. So this kind of testing, guys, is known as database testing. So it's like adding the new user from the UI, showing a new the same user. Whatever I explained so far is nothing but these examples. Okay. Fine. Now let's move to the next concept. That is next database concept. What is a database, guys? What is a database? Database is a collection of related data. Database is a collection of related data. So example for related data is, for example, you have some employee data like employee ID, name, employee location. This employee ID, employee name, employee location, employee experience are related to each other, right? They all belong to the employee data. This kind of data is related to each other. So such kind of sets of data will be, few sets of data will be stored in the database. There is only one related data. Like this, many related data will be there, right? So all the related data will be collected in the database. All the related data will be collected in the database. So fine. So what is the database? Database is a collection of, it's a collection of related data. In database, we'll store the collection of related data. For example, employee data, employee data, employee data, employee ID, employee name, employee location, employee experience. Let's say these are the variables, and each of the variable has some data. Employee ID, there may be multiple sets of data. So one set of data is like this, employee ID is 1, employee name is Motori, employee location is Hyderabad, and experience is 12 years. Like this, this data is a related data. Whatever the data I have stored here is a related data. Employee ID is related somehow to name, and name is somehow related to location, and location is experience, and y to remaining things, right? So such kind of collection will be stored in the database. So what exactly is a database? Database is a collection of related data. So one example for related data is this thing. Similar to this related data, there may be many related data available in the database. So database management system. Database management system. What is database management system? Database management system. Database, what is database management system? So in short form, you can call it as DBMS. What is database management system? It's nothing but a software, guys. Okay, it's nothing but a software. So it's nothing but a software. What is the purpose of this software? Database management system, DBMS, is a software. Okay, it's nothing but a software. What is the purpose of this software? It stores the data in the database. The software stores the data in the database in an organized way to make it easier to create, retrieve, update, and perform other operations. This software will help us in storing the related data in the database, and thereafter perform thereafter that and here one more point. This software help us in storing the related data in the database in an organized manner. Okay, in an organized manner, guys, not randomly or roughly. Okay, it's like every data will be stored according to some logic. Okay, some organized way the data will be. The software has some logic which will store the related data in the database in an organized manner. Okay, with the help of the software, we are storing the related data in the databases in an organized manner. Fine. What is the purpose of storing it in an organized manner? To make it easier to create, retrieve, update the data in the database. Okay. So if the data is stored in an organized manner, at later point of time, you can actually perform lot of operations on the database data in the database. Like you can insert new data, you can create tables. Okay, you can do a lot of stuff. Okay, you can do a lot of stuff to make it easier to create, retrieve, and update the data in the database. Update the data in the database. So what is database management system? DBMS is a software, guys. This software helps us in storing the data in the database in an organized manner. Why we are storing the data in an organized manner? So to make it easier to create, retrieve, or update the data in the database. Okay, it will help. If you store the data, if it is stored in the organized manner, you can actually easily perform. It will become easier for us to create, retrieve, update the data in the database. So there are few examples for the database management systems, guys. DBMS. Okay, there are different softwares in the market. There are different database management system softwares in the market, and few of the examples are here. So MySQL, Oracle, MongoDB, MariaDB, SQLite, Cassandra, and many more. So what are the different examples we have? MySQL is one database management system. Examples for DBMS softwares, guys. These are softwares available in the market. Oracle, MongoDB, MariaDB, Cassandra, and many more. SQLite, and many more. So if you want to see a complete list of this kind of softwares, right, you can just Google search on the web, guys, with this DBMS software list. Let me open a browser. Let me go to Google. Search for DBMS software list. MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server, Postgre, Microsoft Access, IBM, SQLite, MariaDB, Ingress. There are many, guys. Okay, SAP HANA, Firebird, Rima, SQL Anywhere. Lot of softwares are there in the market. Apache Cassandra, MonetDB, like that many database management softwares exist in the market. The purpose of this software is to store the data in the database in an organized manner, and thereafter, which will help us make our job easier make our job easier for retrieving the data or creating the new data or updating the data in the databases. Okay, with the help of this software, we are going to easily create, retrieve, update the data, because the software will store the data in an organized manner. Data in the databases in the organized manner. The different softwares we have in the data management systems are MySQL, Oracle, MongoDB, MariaDB, SQLite, Cassandra, and many more. So now, guys, you know about database system. Do you know about what is database? Which will is nothing but a collection of related data, followed by database management systems, which are softwares which will help us in organizing the data in the database to make our job easier while working with the database for creating, updating, or retrieving the data from the databases. Now, the next topic is data models. Okay, data models. So, what are data models? What are data models? Data models. So, there are many models. So, data models, first of all, there are many models, guys. So, first of all, what actually are the data models? Data models define how the data is connected to each other and stored inside the system. Okay. So in databases, we store the related data, right? In databases, we store the related data. But how this related data is stored? Okay. How the related data is stored in the database. We'll define this data models. There are different data models, guys, which will store the related data in the database in their own models. There are different models for storing the data, for storing the related data. So these data models define how this data is connected to each other. Okay, so we have to connect the proper data. We need to connect the data to each other and store inside the system. Related data means data, how the data is connected to each other, right? How the data is connected to each other will be the point here. So the model for storing this related data will define these data models. Fine. So there are different types of data models. There are different types of data models. First one is hierarchical model, second network model, entity relationship model, and relational model. Hierarchical model. These are data models, guys. Hierarchical data model. Next one is network data model. Third one is entity relationship model. Fourth one is relational model. There are different data models which define how the data is related in this related data that is stored in the database. Okay. This data model define how the data is related. The way to represent how the data is related in the database, there are different data models for that. One is hierarchical data model, second is network data model, entity relationship model, relational model. There are 4 data models. So coming to the, you don't have to learn what is hierarchical model, what is network model, what is entity relationship model. Okay, you don't have to learn that. But the last one, that is relational model, is what we have to focus more on, because this is what we are going to use in real time. This data model, relational model, we are going to use in the real time, guys. Okay, mostly most of the projects wherever the database is being used, this relational data model will be used by those database management system softwares. Fine. Why relational model? So it's currently and widely used across the world now, and this one is very popular and widely used by most of the DBMS softwares. So like softwares like MySQL, Oracle, okay, and many other are using this relational model only, relational data model only. So when what actually, these are database management system softwares, guys. Okay, relational model. Why relational model? It's kind of popular and widely used across the world. Most of the database management system softwares are using this relational model only. Okay, so softwares, DBMS softwares, database management system softwares, which help us in organizing the data in the database, right? These softwares, most of the softwares, DBMS softwares are using this relational model only. Okay, most of the DBMS software are using this relational data model only. So the DBMS software which are using the relational data model can be called as RDBMS. RDBMS. What is RDBMS? RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. Relational Database Management System, guys. RDBMS means Relational Database Management softwares which are using the relational model, data model, are known as Relational Database Management Systems, RDBMS. Okay. So few examples for this RDBMS softwares are, in the DBMS, there are few softwares in DBMS softwares which follow this relational data model. Few examples are MySQL, other one is Oracle, okay, and many more, and many more. So in relational model, so I said that there are different data models: hierarchical, network, entity, relational model, right? I mentioned that they define how the related data is interrelated with each other and stored in the database. What is structure? The way, the model in which the data, related data, is stored in the database. This define the model in which the related data is stored in the database. So how the related data is stored in the database using this relational model? In a form of table, guys, like this. In a form of table, the data is stored in the database. The related data will be like this. Related data will be stored in the form of a table. For example, here EMP name, EMP location, EMP experience, EMP ID, whatever it may be, and here some rows, EMP ID 1, 2, 3, some ID, random some ID, and employee name Arun, Varun, Tarun, and let's say sure, employee location HYD Bangalore, Pune, any other place. Okay, let's say Bihar. Employee experience, let's say 10 years, 12 years. This one is, let's say 10 years. This one, let's say 8 years. This one, let's say 6 years. Okay. So like this, the related data is stored in the form of a table. Table consists of rows and columns. So in RDBMS software stores the related data in the database in a table format. RDBMS softwares, relational database management system softwares like MySQL, Oracle will store this kind of related data in a form of table containing rows and columns. Okay, so these are data models, guys, and the data model that we need to understand is relational model, which stores the related data in a database in a table format containing rows and columns. So RDBMS softwares we have to focus on. Now, guys, the next one is SQL. What is SQL? What is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. What exactly it is? It is a programming language. It is a programming language for relational databases. Okay, programming language for performing. It is a programming language for RDBMS, guys. Okay, RDBMS, relational databases, or you can say relational databases. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and it's a programming language. SQL is a programming language for relational databases. That databases we store the data in the form of tables. Okay, are known as relational databases or RDBMS. Is a software which help us in organizing the data in the database in the form of tables, right? So this SQL is a programming language designed for these relational databases. For performing the operations on the relational database, SQL programming language is defined and it stands for Structured Query Language. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Since SQL is for relational databases, it comes as default feature in the RDBMS softwares. Like when you install RDBMS softwares, for example, tomorrow, you install some RDBMS softwares like Oracle or MySQL, etc. This SQL will come by default, guys. This SQL comes as a default feature in that there will be in the software there will be some pane, guys, here something like this, somewhere you can input the SQL statement and you will get some query result. Okay, so this kind of SQL feature will come by default in the RDBMS, where you can trigger this SQL statements and get the results. Okay, fine. The following things can be performed on database using. So what we can perform then? I said SQL is for relational databases, right? So what are the different operations that SQL programming language can perform on these relational databases? These are the details, guys. So with the help of SQL, with the help of SQL, with the help of SQL, we can retrieve the data data from relational databases. We can connect with the help of this SQL. We can retrieve the data from the relational databases. We can insert new data into the databases, relational databases. Then we can also modify the existing data, modify or update existing data in the relational databases. SQL is only meant for relational database, guys. Okay, SQL programming language is only meant for relational database. For other database models, it will not work. Okay, SQL is mainly for the irrespective of the RDBMS software like Oracle, MySQL. SQL can be used in all the softwares like RDBMS softwares like Oracle, MySQL, and any other DBMS softwares. Okay, but it will not work in other DBMS softwares which are not storing the data in the tabular format in the databases. Okay, so fine. So what are the different operations? Retrieving the data. That means getting the data from the database, inserting new data, inserting new data into the databases, updating existing data. That means whatever the existing data is there, you can modify that, right? Let's say retrieving the user data from the relational database means get the user details from the user tables, let's say. Okay, get the user details, insert new data, add a new user to the user table, update existing data, modify one of the user details in the user table, delete existing data in the relational databases. So if you want to remove a particular user from the users table, you can delete the existing data. Now creating new databases. So in RDBMS, using RDBMS software, using this SQL programming language, okay, which is there in the RDBMS software by default, using this default feature SQL in this RDBMS software, so what you are going to do is you are going to create new databases. Create new databases. There can be multiple databases inside, right? You can create multiple databases. Okay, you can create the database. You can create new tables inside the database. In the newly created database, you can create new tables like user table, employee table. So user table will have user data, customer table will have customer data, employee table will have employee data, like that. You can create any number of tables, create new tables. And if you want to delete the database or delete the tables, you can do that also. Okay, deleting tables and databases and many more guys. So at a high level, using the SQL programming language, you can retrieve the data from the database, insert, update existing data, or delete existing data in the relational database, or create new databases, create tables inside the databases, modify, update, delete the tables and databases in the database. Okay, like this case. So at a high level, these are the database concepts which are required for us in understanding the database testing using Selenium, which will be covered in the upcoming session. So this is about database concepts, guys. See you guys. Bye. Hello everyone. Welcome to session 94 of Selenium training. In this session, I'm going to explain the database testing using Selenium. As part of this concept, guys, as part of this database testing using Selenium, we need to know how to use SQL statements. Okay, we have to know how to use SQL statements. So in order to understand database testing using Selenium, the first thing that we need to be aware of is database concepts. These database concepts I have already covered in the last session. The last session I already covered the database concepts. Now comes the turn of SQL statements. So we should be knowing how to use these SQL statements. Okay, we should be knowing how to use this SQL statements. These are required for understanding how to perform database testing using Selenium. So guys, in this session, I'm going to cover SQL statements. So few of the SQL statements I'm going to cover, and other few will be covered in the next session anyhow. So whatever that are generally required at a high level will be covered in this session. Fine, let's get started. So for demonstrating this SQL statements, I'm going to take this example website. Okay, the very best website, guys, provided by this W3 schools, where you can practice the SQL statements online. Okay, you don't have to install, configure all the stuff for practicing SQL statements. Rather, W3 schools is already providing us with a kind of online tool which will help us in practicing SQL statements online without installing or configuring any other tools, database related tools. Okay, so guys, let's click here to get that website, to navigate to that website. So this is provided by W3 schools. Let me give a small introduction to this website provided by the W3 schools here. You see, just refresh here, it didn't load properly. Yeah, I think it came properly now. Guys, you can see something here. This W3 schools is providing this online tool for which will help us in practicing the SQL statements from here. So here is where you provide the SQL statement, and when you run the SQL statement, you will get the result. That's what this tool will do. And apart from that, w3schools.com in this particular page has hosted a database. Okay, there is a database. They are not revealing the name of the database here, but there is a database created by the W3 schools. Okay, and it has the following tables in it. What are the different tables that they have hosted as part of that they created as part of this database that they are providing us for practice? The table names are customers table, categories table, employees table, order details table, orders table, products table, shippers and suppliers table. Lot of different tables they provided, guys. You can choose any of these tables for practicing the SQL statements here. Okay, and also they are saying in this particular table there are 91 records, 91 customer data is there in this customers table. Okay, they added the 91 customer data to the customer. Likewise, they added, for example, order details has huge amount of data here. 518 records are there in the order details table. So they have set up everything for us. They have set up everything for us. So when you navigate to this page, you will see this tables and this database having this particular tables, which we are going to use in preparing the SQL statements. Okay, this is done. Now, the following are the different SQL statements we need to practice at the above practice website. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate few SQL statements which we are going to practice at this website, guys. Okay, what is the first one? The first SQL statement. SQL I already explained, right? SQL is a programming language, right? SQL is a programming language for relational databases. Relational databases. These SQL statements can be used for querying the data in the relational databases. You can use these SQL statements to retrieve the data or delete the data, update the data, whatever it is, or create new data. Fine. So a lot of things are possible with the help of these SQL statements. So to get started, I am starting with the first SQL statement, that is select. The purpose of the first SQL statement I am going to take up here is select statement. The purpose of this statement is to retrieve the data. Select is a SQL statement. Okay, and when we use here, the purpose is to retrieve the data from the relational databases, base tables. Okay, the purpose of the select statement in SQL is to retrieve the data from the relational database tables. One of the so from now onwards, whatever that I am referring to will be the relational database anyhow. So I will say directly, I will come to the point here. So select statement is used for retrieving the data from the tables, guys. Tables means relational database one, right? So retrieve the data from the tables. So guys, let's run a basic one. For example, here we have customers table. I want to retrieve all the data from the customers. What is the what is the SQL statement? Have to trigger here for retrieving all the records from the customers table. For retrieving, we have to use the select command. Select command in the SQL statements. Select star, we have to say from which table? From customers table, and put a semicolon at the end. Select will retrieve the data. Star means all columns in this customers table. Star means all columns in this customers table from customers. Select all the data which is under all the columns from the customers table. Click on run SQL, guys. This is the first SQL statement I am triggering here. Click on run. You see, when I run this SQL statement in this particular tool of W3 schools, it has given me the list of all the records. How many complete records are there? 91 records are there. All the 91 records and all the columns. Whatever the columns that are there in the customers table, all the columns got displayed here with all the data. Total 91 records came into picture. Now, guys, this is a basic statement. One of the example I gave here. Now, I don't want to retrieve the data under all the columns. Instead, I want to retrieve the data which is only under the customer ID, customer name, and country. Okay. So here many columns are there. Instead of displaying the data under all these columns, I want to only display the columns, data under the columns, customer ID, customer name, and country. Only 3 columns I want to display. So how to modify this statement in such a way that only the data belonging to this customer ID, customer name, and country will be displayed in this result. Simple, guys. Remove the star, and in place of star, type customer ID, comma. The next one is I want to print. I want to retrieve customer name, comma, country. Run this. That's it. Okay. Select customer ID, comma, customer name, comma, country from which table? From customers. This customers table. Select will retrieve the data which belong to these columns from customers table. So all the 91 records will be displayed this time also, but only the data related to the customer ID, customer name, and country will be displayed. Right? This is how you have to trigger that. Now the next one. Now, so if I again if I again revert it, like if I say star means all columns. What are all the columns are there in the customers table? The data which is there under the all columns of the customers table will be retrieved like this. These are all the complete columns. How many columns are there in complete? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Specific columns you have to provide here with a comma separation. Comma separation. Now, guys, I want to retrieve the data of the customers who stay in London. Anyone there in London here? Yeah, you see here, one person. 11th record is there in the London. And also 4th record is also there in London. So 16th record, 3 records so far. 53rd record. And here 72 record. So 4 to 5 records are there in the London, right? 5 to 6 records are there in the customers stay in the London city. So, guys, now I want to retrieve only the records of the customers who stay in London. This is the condition. How do I create the SQL statement here? In this case, guys, I have to use a keyword known as where. Okay. Select star from customers. will retrieve the data under all the columns of the customers table. But I will append this with a condition known as where city is equal to, if it is a string, guys, you have to surround this with single quotes. London, I have to say. London is a string. So the value I will surround with the single quotes. Select start from customers where city is equal to London. I have to draft the statement like this. This is extra condition. This will be used for where city is equal to London will filter the records. It will not display all the records, guys, but it will only display the filter the records of the customers whose city is London. Okay, where city is equal to London. Run it. You see how many records got displayed? Total 6, guys. 4, 11, 16, 19, 53, 72 IDs. You see, all these people's cities are London's. Okay, that's why they got retrieved. This is how we can filter the records. Now the next example. So here where city is equal to London, the value of city is London here, which is a string type. So I have to surround with a single quotes in SQL statements. Now guys, I want to retrieve the value of the customer where customer ID is equal to 53. This value 53 is a numerical value, so you don't have to surround this numerical value with single quotes, guys. You have to keep it the number as it is. If it is a string like London or UK, you have to surround with single quotes here. So I am trying to retrieve the value of the customer who is having the customer ID as 53. Customer ID will be unique for each and every customer. Only one customer record will be retrieved here, and that customer having the customer ID as 53 will be retrieved. This is the extra condition for filtering the data, that is the records that are getting displayed in the results. Done this, you see, only one record, and who is having the customer ID as 53, right? This is the record of the customer. Like this, guys, you can use the select statement, and along with the select statement, you can include the where condition for filtering the data. So these are few examples of select statement for retrieving the data. Now let's move to the next SQL statement, that is next SQL keyword, that is order by. Okay, order by. So here if I say select star from customers, okay, and if I say select start from customers, so just observe this, it is displaying all the records, all the 91 records under all the 7 columns, all the available 7 columns in this customers table. Now guys, observe the country. So Germany, Mexico, UK. Is there any order here, guys? Under the country, is there any order here? Like alphabetical order. First A should come, then B should come, then C should come. It's not like that, right? You see? Again, here F came. If it is in ascending order, this France would have been before this Germany. So there is no particular order here. But guys, if in some situations I want to retrieve the data of the customers, okay, in alphabetical order of their names or countries, okay. So you can go with names also, not a problem. Names are already by default, okay. So by default ascending they are displaying. So let's go with the country. I want to view this customers records in alphabetical order by country. So here in SQL we have something known as order by. Okay, select start from customers from table. Okay, select means for retrieving, star means all the columns, from is a keyword. Here customers is a table name, from table name, order by which column. You have to order this records by which column. I want to order this records by country column, so you have to say country space ASC. ASC is a short form from for ascending order. Okay, order by this country ASC. All the records that are coming up here will be ordered in ascending order by country, guys. When I click on the run, you see Argentina starts with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. All the records are now ordered by ascending order of the country. Now the same thing, instead of ASC, if I say DSC, descending, short form for here in SQL statements, if you want to order this country things by ascending order, you have to provide ASC code here. If not, if you want to do a reverse where you want to uh, retrieve the values of these records by country in descending order, then you have to give the keyword DESC. Run it. You see, starts with V, guys. Reverse. Okay, descending order. All the 91 records will be ordered according to the country's descending order. Like this, guys, you can organize. Okay, fine. So the keyword we use are order by followed by DAC or ASC. For ascending order ASC, for descending order DAC. Now next statement, that is insert into. Okay, so the purpose of the select statement was to retrieve the data from the tables. So what is the purpose of insert into? The purpose of, before that, order by. Before that, where was there, right? Where keyword is used for filtering the data in the tables, right? Where country, where city is called London, where customer ID is equal to 53. You can give any conditions. So now the next purpose is to, next one is order by. I already explained order by for ordering the records in ascending or descending order. Okay, this is order by. Next one is insert into. Insert into. So this is for inserting or creating new data into the tables. So here in this results, if I remove all this stuff and run SQL, so how many records are there? 91 records. But I want to insert a new record at 90 seconds record. Let's say I want to include a insert or create a new record at 90-second record. For that, how to insert the record? Okay, using insert. So for that, I will be writing insert into which table? Customers table. Customers. Insert into customers values. Okay, insert into the table the values. What are the different values you have to provide? I'm going to type one by one. For example, your customer IDs are 1 to 91. I want to give the first value as customer ID, that is 92. I want to give. Second is the name of the customer I have to give. Since it is a number, I am not surrounding this 92 with single quotes, but the next one is customer name. Let me give my name here. Okay, in single quotes I have given this name, comma. Next one is contact name. Let's say I will give my contact name as QAFox. Okay, if it is a string, guys, you have to surround by single quotes. If it is not a string or number, then don't surround it with single quotes. Now address Silicon Valley, city. Next one is city, that is Hyderabad. Postal code, it is also a number, 581. Country, single quotes, India. End this and put a semicolon and run this. Okay. So this statement is going to insert a record into the customer table with these values. All the column, I have given the values for all the columns, guys, one after the other in an organized manner, in an order I have given. Click on run. You see it's saying you have made changes to the database. How many rows affected? One row got affected. Okay. Now guys, since it's saying that a record is added, to find out whether in reality the record has been added or not, again trigger this command called select star from customers to see all the records in the customer tables. Now go from 1 to the 91. You see a new record got added to the table with a customer ID 92, customer name Arun Moturi, and customer contact name QAFox, address Silicon Valley, city Hyderabad, pin code India, country. Okay, all the details got inserted. So that's how we can insert new data into the database tables with the help of insert into. And next one is, I don't want to insert the complete values under each and every column, but rather I want to insert a new record, but not complete values under the columns. Only few columns I want to insert. Insert into customers. So if you want to insert the data under specific columns, then you have to do this, guys. Beside the customers table, you have to open the circular brackets and close them. In between them, you have to give the names of the columns you want to insert the data into. First one is customer ID. Second one is, so you don't have to give double quote, single quotes, guys. These are names of the columns, so you don't have to give. For values only, you have to give the single quotes. Customer ID, customer name, country. You want to only give the values under these three columns. Now you have to say values. If you want to provide the values for all the columns, you don't. This particular thing will be optional, guys. If you want to provide the data, insert the data only into the specific columns, then you have to provide the column names like this. Values, again start like this. So here customer ID, I'll give 93. Customer name, Ravi Kiran. Country, again I will give India. Here values, single quotes. Put a semicolon at the end and provide run. You see, you have made changes to the database. Rows affected are 1. Now to confirm that, I have to retrieve all the columns, all the rows, records from the database table. Select star from customers table. Run. How many records are there? 93. So the last record 93 got added. Ravi Kiran. 93 is a customer ID we have inserted, and Ravi Kiran the name we have inserted, and the country is the India we have inserted. Remaining things are null. You see, they are not inserted because we only inserted the data under these three columns. So that is how we have to insert the data into the database tables. The next one is update. Okay, the next SQL statement is update statement. The purpose of this update statement is for modifying the values under different columns of the tables. Okay, if you want to update to data under the columns of a specific table, you have to use the update command. So this is how we have to. So update is for modifying the data in the records. Okay, I want to modify the data in the records. How to update that? Here select start from customers is there. Here I will say update table name, that is customers. Okay, and set is the keyword. Set, what I have to set? I want to set this first record. Let's say I want to update this record. So I want to set the, I want to change the name of, modify the customer name to some other name. Let's say set customer name. Set customer name is equal to, you can give any name. I will say Gopal. Customer name Gopal, comma, country India, country India. Okay, I went to names. So guys, update customers, set customer name is equal to Gopal, country is equal to India. Put a semicolon. If I trigger this one, guys, what will happen? All the records in the customer name will have the customer name as Gopal and country as India, guys. Okay, so run it. Once run it, this statement, update customers, set customer name is equal to Gopal, country is equal to India, run it. So 93 records got affected, guys. Now, let me open here. Now, if I say select start from customers, all the 93 records, now all the 93 records, all the customers' names are Gopal only, you see. Okay, and all the countries are India's only, India country. So this is the problem. Okay, you have updated all the records, but I don't have to update all the records, right? One or two records I want to update, but not all the records. So guys, so let's restore the database to the older one. Now say this button they have provided, guys. W3 Skills has provided this button, restore database. If any changes you make to the database, right? Database tables or so, if you restore it, it will go to the previous thing where we have started. Select start from, it will restore the data, actual data, customers. Run this, you see, our data is back. Okay, we have reverted the changes by clicking on this restore database button provided by this W3 School. Okay, fine. Now guys, I'm using update customers table, set customer name is equal to Gopal and comma country India. So here, instead of updating all the records, I want to update a record where customer ID is equal to 1. What will happen in this case, guys? This particular statement will modify the customer name and country of the record having the customer ID as 1. So instead of updating all the records, only the first record, that is the record having the customer ID as 1, will be updated with the customer name as Gopal and country as, instead of Germany, India will be there. Okay, only one record will be updated here whose customer ID is equal to 1. Run it. You see only one row affected. Now say select star from customers table. Will fetch all the records in the customers table. You see, this is updated. Only the first record having the customer name got updated to Gopal and the country got updated to India. Right? So if you don't use this, all the records in the table will be updated with this customer names and cities. You have to add this, guys, extra thing you have to add to apply this update to only the record having the customer ID as 1. Okay. Update and set keywords have to be used in this update statement. Now the next one is delete. So next one is delete. The purpose of this delete SQL statement is for deleting the records in the tables. Okay, for deleting the records in the table, we have to use delete statement. So let's delete from customers where customer ID is equal to 1. Like this you have to say. Okay, so delete from customers where customer ID is equal to 1. Okay, like this. Delete from table. The record having the customer ID as 1 will be deleted now. Okay, if you don't provide this, all the records in the table will be deleted, guys. But if you provide where customer ID is equal to 1, only the record having the customer ID will be deleted. This is added for that purpose. So delete from customers table where customer ID is equal to 1. Only the really having customer ID 1 will be deleted. Run it. Rows affected is 1. So now say select star from customers. Run it. So only 90 records are there instead of 91, and because the first record having the customer ID 1 got deleted already from the table. 2 to 91 records are available now. Okay. Now guys, if I want to delete all the records in the table, I have to say delete from customers. Delete from customers. It will delete all the records in the customers table. Okay. If I append this with where customer ID is equal to 1, 2, 3, only that particular records will be deleted. But if I say delete from customers and run it, you see 90 rows got affected. So all the 90 records, remaining 90 records got deleted. Since select star from customers, run it. You see no result. Nothing got retrieved because all the records got deleted. So I want to revert my details in this customers table. Completely, I want to revert this database to the original point. So click on this restore database. Now say run. You'll get all the records again. Okay. We have restored the database to the previous saved point. Fine. We are just practicing, guys. We are just practicing. While practicing, we do a lot of stuff which will delete the data or also. But W3 Schools has provided an option to restore the data in the databases to the original point. So using the restore database, I have used that to restore the data back. Even though I performed a lot of things, I just restored it. And apart from this, all these SQL statements, okay, which are there up to here, select delete. And there are many other commands, guys. In SQL statements, there are many other commands. But I'm not going to explain each and every command, guys. Okay. So far explained commands will be enough for understanding or practicing the database testing using Selenium. And there are few other commands which will be covered in the next session automatically. You don't have to go behind this whatever explained here. Okay. But if you still out of curiosity want to learn more SQL things and all, you can refer this website, guys. Okay. So click on this W3 Schools website. You see complete SQL tutorial is there. If you want to practice on the top of whatever I explained so far, you can just go through each and every thing and learn on your own. But I can say that whatever statements I explained today in this session will be enough. And apart from this statements I explained today, I'm going to cover few more statements in the next session. Okay, which will be enough for you to for practicing the SQL statements which are required for performing the database testing using Selenium. Okay. For understanding this concept, these SQL statements will be enough along with the statements which I'm going to explain in the next session. Don't have to go behind that. If you still want to learn more, just refer this link which I have provided here, which has all the things that you can practice as part of SQL. So that's it for today, guys. See you. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome to session 95 of Selenium training. In this session, I am going to continue the database testing using Selenium concept. Guys, as part of the last two sessions, I was explaining the concepts of that belong to database testing using Selenium. So last two sessions, guys, I covered database concepts. And another session I covered is SQL statements. These two sessions are required for understanding this database testing using Selenium concept, guys. Now, the third concept that I'm going to explain in today's session is JDBC. Okay, I'm going to explain JDBC in today's session. JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. This particular topic I am going to cover in today's session, JDBC. So what exactly is JDBC? So generally, in our Eclipse IDE or any other IDE, we create some programs, right? In Java, Selenium, using Java and Selenium, we write some programs. So let's say we have the Java program here, Java program, and in between the Java program, there is a need for us to connect to a database. Let's say there is an application database. Okay, an application is there, web application that has a database somewhere. Okay, so from Java programs, based on our need, we may have to connect to this database and retrieve the trigger some SQL commands and retrieve the required information into this Java programs. We are operating this from the Java programs, guys. From Java programs, we have to connect to the database and perform operations on the database. Okay, perform the SQL statements on the database. So this can, in Java programs, in Java, this can be possible with the help of a concept known as JDBC, Java Database Connectivity. In Java, using this library of JDBC, we can connect to the database and perform operations on it and retrieve the required information to your Java programs. So this particular topic is very much required for performing the database testing using Selenium. So guys, let's get started with JDBC in today's session. So before we get to the JDBC concepts, we have to make our local machine. We have to make our machine ready for this, ready for the Java database connectivity thing. Okay. So before getting there, what we have to have first, guys, in our machine, we have the Eclipse IDE where we can create the Java projects and create some Java program. That's fine. But one thing is missing, guys. We don't have any database with us. Okay. From this Java programs that I'm going to create here, from that Java program, I need to connect to a database. I need to connect to a database. But the problem here is I don't have any database installed in my local machine. I need to have one. I need to have one database installed in our local machine. Then only from my Java programs, I will be able to connect to the database, right? So guys, what I will do is first I will install database in my machine. So let's get started with this. Install database in our local machine and start it. So how to install, guys? Now to install, I need to perform these two steps. I need to perform these two steps. So first step is I need to download XAMPP from this link. XAMPP is a software, guys. XAMPP is a software, okay, which I need to download and install. So click here to download. Click on this download. Download anyway. XAMPP, Windows 32-bit version of XAMPP software is getting downloaded, guys. It may take a bit of time. Let's wait till it completes downloading. So it got downloaded successfully. So let's go to the folder where it exactly got downloaded. This is a file, guys. XAMPP, Windows 32-bit version 1.8.2, some VC9 installer is there. This is an exe file. Just double click on this. Double click on this exe file. I got a prompt. I just selected yes on the prompt. It has started installing. So a question is coming here. Don't worry about this, guys. It's saying something about antivirus running and all those stuff. I am antivirus installed in my machine. So not a problem if you get this kind of dialog. Just simply blindly continue with installation by selecting yes. You may also get another warning. Okay, if you get this kind of warning, don't worry about this dialog, guys. Simply press OK. Then the actual setup installation setup wizard for XAMPP, XAMPP will get displayed like this. Click on the next. Again, click on next. Now it's asking you to select the installation folder. So by default, it is suggesting you to install in your C drive. So that's why I am fine with that. C XAMPP. Next, click on next. Then after clicking next, saying something about bitnaming for exam. I don't want to learn more about this one. I deselect this one. If this is there, it will open some website and then give some info on this. I don't want to go through that. So simply select next. Ready to install. Now click on next. So installation has begin, guys. Okay. Installation has begun for XAMPP. XAMPP is getting installed in my local machine. Let it complete the installation. Okay, just click on. Do you want to start the control panel now? That's fine. I just unselect it so that I can start it my own. The installation has completed, guys. Just click on deselect this option and click on finish button. So now we have XAMPP installed in our local machines. Next thing is, once we have downloaded and installed XAMPP in our local machine, we need to launch the installed software, that is XAMPP software. Okay, we have to launch the just now downloaded and installed the XAMPP software and start MySQL from that. So guys, let's launch XAMPP, which got just now got installed in our machines. So in the search, I will be searching XAMPP. Okay, so since XAMPP is installed, I will get this option, guys. In my machine, I will be getting this XAMPP control panel, or you can also go to your C drive where the XAMPP got installed. Okay, there are two ways. Either you can search here and directly XAMPP, just search for XAMPP and click on this XAMPP control panel, which is coming from the installed XAMPP software. Okay, or you can go to your C drive, find this XAMPP folder, and you see XAMPP control. A file name XAMPP control is there in your installed XAMPP folder. Okay, just double click on this. This also does the same thing. Okay, you can directly launch from that control panel, or sorry, you can directly launch from the search, or you can go with this. Just go to this path and double click here to launch. So XAMPP got launched now. Next thing I told you is to start the MySQL database. Okay, we need to start this MySQL, guys. Just click on start. Just click on start. So MySQL is coming. MySQL is a database software, right? It's a DBMS software, okay, which is coming by default in the XAMPP software. So instead of separately downloading the MySQL, I just downloaded the XAMPP software, which has, along with MySQL, we have Apache, FileZilla, Mercury, Tomcat, and all those stuff. I'm not going to use any of these things other than MySQL, though. Okay. So if you want to have MySQL installed in database installed in your machine, simply install XAMPP, guys. So that will get to the MySQL database software. So once I started, guys, it's running on which port here? MySQL is starting on, MySQL has started on the port number 3306. 3306 port number. Okay, in your local host means local machine, the port number is 3306. Okay. So what is this port number, guys? What is this port number? For example, guys, you visited a hotel. Let's say this is a hotel room. Sorry, hotel. Treat this hotel as your local machine here. Okay, local machine. Treat this hotel as a local machine, and in this local machine, if you have to access this local machine, in the URL, you have to say something like this: localhost. You have to type. Okay. In order to access this local machine via IP address, via internet, if you want to access this local machine, in your machine, you have to either give the URL of your local machine, or if you are from the same machine, you can directly say localhost, right? Localhost. So this localhost, when typed in your own local machine, will get to this local machine, right? Via IP address. In the IP address, in the URL you are typing. In that, you are providing the port number as some port number is there, that is 3306 is there. So 3306. So in your local machine, IP address, somewhere some room got allocated. In a hotel, a room got allocated. This room is nothing but the port number. Port number, that is nothing but 3306. Okay. So this is the URL, guys. http :/localhost:3306. If you are accessing the same, if you are accessing this MySQL from a different machine, not this machine, but different machine, then you have to provide the, instead of this localhost, you have to provide the IP address of this machine :3306 you have to provide. Okay. So http colon / IP address of this local machine colon 3306 you have to say. So this is a concept of port number, guys. Okay. So when I started MySQL, by default it has started on the 3306 port number. Okay. 3306 port number is allocated to MySQL. So no other service can run on 3306 now, because already MySQL is running that. If some other service will run, it may run in different port number. Okay. Like that, guys. So at a high level, that's the concept for port number. Fine. Now I have installed database by downloading XAMPP and installing it in my local machine. Then I launched the XAMPP and started MySQL, which by default started in the port number 3306. MySQL is a relational database software, guys. Okay, MySQL is a RDBMS. Okay, as part of database concepts I explained, right? What is RDBMS? RDBMS softwares will store the related data in the form of tables. I mentioned that, right? As part of the database concepts. This MySQL RDBMS software comes by default in the XAMPP software. Okay, that's the reason we have installed XAMPP and started MySQL from it. Now MySQL is running. Okay, MySQL is nothing but a database software. Okay, so we have installed the database. So fine. So now we have installed the database. Now what I have to do is I want to connect to the database. Whatever the database I installed, right? I just want to connect to that particular database. How to connect to that particular database? So for that, guys, go to your C XAMPP MySQL bin folder. So the C drive, go to this XAMPP which got created when I installed XAMPP software. Okay, this folder got created at the time. In the XAMPP folder, there is a other folder called MySQL. Open that MySQL folder. The MySQL folder, you will find something called bin folder. Just open that. Okay, just open that. Here we have an application called MySQL application. I have to run this application, guys. For that, guys, from this bin folder path, I want to open the command prompt. When I say CMD here, you see this command prompt has taken me to C XAMPP MySQL bin. Here, guys, I will type a command known as MySQL -u. -u means U stands for username, guys. Username. By default, guys, this MySQL will have the username as root. Okay. By default, you have not given that credentials. You have not created that credentials, but by default, MySQL will come with the username known as root. Okay. MySQL -u root. You have to say that. Then just press enter. When I say enter, with this user, there is no password, guys. By default, there will not be any password. We have to set the password. Okay. So by default, only username will be there for the MySQL database. So MySQL, in order to connect to the database, you have to say MySQL -u. In order to connect to this database software, we have to say MySQL -u root. Now you see this C XAMPP MySQL bin, all those things will convert to MySQL. That means we have connected to the database software. Now MySQL database software we have connected successfully. What's next? The next thing I want to do is I want to close this command prompt. Now, guys, again I will launch the same command from the same bin folder. This time I don't want to simply connect to the database, but this time I'm just repeating the same step, guys. I'm going to the same path, bin folder path of MySQL, and then open the command from there. Instead of directly connecting to the database system, first thing I want to do in this step is that I want to first create a password. I want to create a password for this MySQL database software. So for that, again, I have to do the same steps. I have to go to the C drive, then go inside the XAMPP folder, then MySQL, this MySQL, and inside that bin folder. Now from here, I will open the command prompt. So C XAMPP MySQL bin folder. Here, MySQL admin. This is a command. You have to trigger this command, guys. MySQL admin.exe. Admin.exe -u. What is the username, guys? Root. Have any password set already? No, right? So you have to say normal password. Okay, just set the password, guys. Password or the password that you want to have for this MySQL database software. I want to give the same user, whatever the username is there, I will give the same username here. You can give anything here. It may not be root, but I'm just for remembering purpose. I'm giving the username as a password only. Okay, password is same as the username, just for remembering purpose. Okay, so this is the command, guys. MySQL admin.exe. From bin folder, you have to trigger this command. MySQL admin.exe -u username password. I want to set this root which is the same username as a password. Just press enter. That's it, guys. It will not say anything, but the password is now there. Now let's connect to the database, guys. Now let's connect to the MySQL database software. So earlier, if I have to connect to the MySQL database, I have typed like this, right? MySQL -u root. Now will this work? Will this work? Only with username can we connect to this MySQL database software. It's saying access denied. That means the password, that the root password has been set. Okay, password with the name root has been set already. It's saying you have to provide the password indirectly. So in order to provide the password, I have to type this command. In order to connect to the database now, which has database software now, which has both username and password, I have to say MySQL -u root, and also I need to say -p root. U stands for username, P stands for password. In order to connect to this, I have to provide both username and password this time. Sorry, I just did a small mistake here. I have to say something like this. MySQL -u root. Then I have to say -p only. I don't have to give the password here. Just press enter. It will ask you to provide the password. At this time, you have to say root. Why it's prompting is because if I type the password -p root here, this password is visible to others, right? As part of security norms, password while you're typing password in any application or anywhere, it should not get visible. But in this way, it will get visible. That's why the 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 command should be like this: MySQL -u root -p. Then you have to press enter without providing the password. Whenever it asks the password, then you have to type the password as root. You see, this root password is not visible to you. Security norm. You see now, with the help of username and password, you are able to, with the help of the username and the newly created password, we are able to connect to the MySQL. We are able to connect to the MySQL. Next. So what I have done so far, I have connected to the database. Then I decided to go back and then create a password for that. I created with this particular statement. After creating the password, then I try to connect to the database system. Now to connect to the database system, I have to trigger this command: MySQL -u root -p. I don't have to provide the password. It will prompt you for entering the password. So when it prompts, just enter root and then press enter. It will connect you to the database system. Now, after connecting to the database system with the help of username and password of the database system, then we have to view the default databases inside the MySQL. So when we install this XAMPP, it's coming with the database system called MySQL. So just let's find out whether there are any databases. This database system is a software which holds any number of databases, guys. You can create any number of databases inside this one. Okay. By default, it's already coming with some databases. Okay. Let's find out this MySQL database system has any software or databases or not. Okay. For that, guys, there's a command called show databases. Let's trigger this command. Now we got connected to this database. Now we got connected to this MySQL database system. In this database system, let's find out any databases are already there or not. Show databases, put a semicolon, enter. By default, this MySQL database system is coming with all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 databases. Okay. So the 7 databases are already there in this MySQL database system by default. Next, let's create a new database, guys. Okay. So along with this default, I want to create one more. From my side, I want to create a new database. I want to create a new database into this into this MySQL database system. So at present, QAFox database is not there. You see, information is there: CD call, MySQL performance, PHP myadmin, test, web auth. These are different databases that have come by default. Okay. when I install this MySQL database system. But now I want to create a new database. Create database. This is a command, guys. Create database. I want to name this database as QAFox. Okay. QAFox is the name of the database I want to create here. Just press enter. You see, query okay. One row affected. Now, guys, let's to confirm whether the newly created database is added to this list of databases or not. What I have to do? I have to trigger the same command, that is show databases command. Show databases. You see now how many databases are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are there. QFX got added. You see the newly created database is now added to this databases list of this database system. Now, guys, so let's work on this database. In order to work on this newly created QAFox database, I have to use a command called use QAFox. Use database name. Database change. Now we are working on this QAFox. Out of all these 8 databases, I have chosen to work with QAFox for now. Okay. So use is the command for choosing the database that you want to work. So use QAFox database change. Now current database that I am going to work is QAFox. Whatever the SQL statements or whatever the statements I'm going to type here will belong to the QAFox now. Okay, we'll refer to the QAFox. Now, guys, let me find out any tables available in this QAFox database that I newly created and I'm currently using. Okay, so I will type, since this is a new database, guys, you will not find any tables in this. Okay, show tables. You see empty set because this newly created QAFox is a newly created database. You will not find any tables, guys. Okay, by default no tables will come right in the newly created database. It's obvious. So use QAFox, then show tables. It will say that you don't have any tables. Let's create one table, guys. Okay, since newly created QAFox database doesn't have any tables, let me create a table. When I triggered show tables statement, it has said that there are no tables available in the QAFox because it is newly created. Okay, how can the tables can be there in the newly created databases? Okay, database. Now let's create a table, guys. Let's say the table name I want to create is employee. Under this QAFox database, I want to create a table known as employee table. Okay, with these fields: name, location, and experience. Name and location are varchar types. You can store the strings into this. When you declare this name as varchar, you can store string values into this. And experience, I'm saying integer, you can store numerical value into the experience. So this is a statement, guys, using which you can create a table with the name employee and with these 3 column names. Name, location, and experience. In that, name and location are string types and experience is integer. So let's create table. What is the table name I said? Employee table I want to create. In that first column I want to have is the name. Which type? Varchar type. Varchar 50. So I will give something like this. Varchar 50, comma, location. Location also varchar 50. 50 is the length, guys. Okay, length of the string that you can store. Then experience. Experience is integer. Okay. So put a semicolon and say enter. Query okay, 0 rows affected. Okay, it's saying something. Let's see now. Initially, when I triggered show tables, I didn't find any table under this QAFox database. Now, if I trigger the same command, show tables, after creating a table, I'm saying show tables. You see, this time it's not empty. Okay, QAFox database is not empty. We have created new table known as employee table. Employee table is created. Now, guys, so the table is created, but is there any data? When you create a table, empty table will be there, right? It will not have any data. So just to confirm that there it is an empty table or not, I will say select star from employee, the newly created table name. Select star from employee. You see, empty set, no data is there. No records are there under this employee table. So let's add few. How to add the records into the table, guys? Insert into. Okay, insert into. I explained yesterday, right? How to insert new records into the tables. Insert into. What is the table name? We have to insert the value. Insert the records. Employee is a table. Insert into table name. Values. values. So first value should be name. You have to give the name, guys. I'll say Venkat. Okay, Venkat. Location. He belongs to Hyderabad, let's say. Then experience. Let's say 10 years. It is you see, string value should be in the single quotes, whereas the integer can be in without single quotes. Put a semicolon at the end and press enter. You see, one row affected. Similarly, let me add few more records into this employee table. Same command but different data. I want to insert values. Gopal this time. Gopal. 3 records I will insert. Gopal. Bangalore. Experiences. Let's say 8. Done. Again, third record, that is insert into table name values. Niharika. Pune. 3 years. Done. Okay. Now guys, now trigger the command select star from employee to check whether there are any records in the employee table. You see, this time some records came, guys. When I select star from employee, I got 3 records. Venkat, Gopal, and Niharika records I got. Okay. A visible table is also displayed now with 3 records. Fine, guys. Our database QAFox is ready. In this MySQL database system, now we have database. That is, what is the name of the database? QAFox is the database. Under QAFox database, there were no tables earlier. So we created a new table called employee table. Under employee table, we added 3 new records. Right? 3 new records we have added. That's the status so far. Now, guys, this data will be enough for this database, and this data inside that particular QAFox database is enough to experiment. That is what I mean here is from my or Java programs, I am going to connect to the QAFox database. Okay, from this, from our Java program, I am going to connect to which database? The newly created QAFox database. Okay, QAFox database I want to connect. In this database, there is a table anyhow. In this QAFox database, there is a table. What is the table name, guys? Employee table is there with 3 records. How many records are there in that employee table? 3 records are there. Okay. So this is what database is ready. Okay. So we can now implement JDBC, Java Database Connectivity. With this database ready, I'm with the help of from the Java programs using the Java library, I'm going to connect to this database and get these records. Okay, retrieve these records of the employee table from QAFox database. Fine. Let's see that. For that, guys, in order to have that, so I need to create a new Maven project. Give any name, like I am going to give JDBC demo, some kind of relevant name. Okay. So we are going to execute the SQL statements on the database, newly created database from the Java programs using JDBC. So for that, open Eclipse IDE, right click, say new, say project. Yeah, search for Maven project. Select this Maven, click on next. Again click on next. Again click on next. Here give some package name, say QAFox, and here give JDBC demo. The name of the project is JDBC demo. I want to give done. A Maven project is getting ready. Let's wait for it to completely load. It's building work. Yeah, it's done. Expand it. Delete this app test.java, which is coming by default. Create a new class. Right click, new class, say demo class. Inside this, create a main method, public static. This is Java program base. Okay. From this Java program, we are going to connect to that QAFox database and retrieve the data in the table, employee table, which is newly created in that QAFox database, that is employee table with the 3 records of data, right? String of. Okay, fine. Now guys, next thing. So in order to connect to this database from the Java programs, okay, second step is that we need to add the dependency tags of MySQL connect. Okay, if you don't have this dependency, If you don't have this dependency added, sorry, we need to add this dependency, guys. MySQL connect. Okay, MySQL connected Java dependency we need to add to the pom.xml file. Click on this MySQL connector Java. Okay, MySQL connector Java. So in that, take the latest version, that is 8.0.13. Copy this dependency tags. This will download the MySQL connector Java jar file and automatically configure it to the Maven project, right? So go to the pom.xml file and in between the dependency tags, just paste it. And hit tab. That's it. Okay, done. So it's getting downloaded. Jar file MySQL connector.java, which is required for Java programs to connect to the database, is getting downloaded here. It's done. Okay, you got the Maven dependency, MySQL connector Java now. That's fine. Now go to the demo. Next thing what we have to do is, we already created the demo class with the main method inside it. Now let's write the code for connecting to the QAFox database using JDBC. Step by step, we are going to write something else. Okay. As per the first step, create a string URL. String URL is equal to JDBC colon MySQL colon /. Here you have to give localhost colon where this MySQL database system is running is in which port 3306. You have to give that 3306. Okay, 3306 you have to say, and don't forget to provide a slash here. Okay, better to provide a slash. So JDBC MySQL colon localhost colon 3306 slash. This is the URL. Now string DB name. What is the DB name, guys? What is the database name? Database that I created in this MySQL database system. What is the database that I created? The name is nothing but QAFox is the name. QAFox is the database that I created, right? Create database QAFox. So give QAFox is the database name. So this slash you should not forget, guys. You have to keep the slash at the end of this. Okay. String DB URL is equal to this URL plus this DB name. Okay. Database URL. This is normal URL of the MySQL, whereas this is the URL up to QAFox database. So inside MySQL database system, there is a database, right? So in order to get to this database URL, DB URL, you have to append this URL with this DB name, but you have to make sure that slash is there here. Okay, it will be like JDBC colon MySQL colon localhost colon 3306 slash QAFox. Okay, the value of this one will be slash QAFox. From here slash QAFox. Fine. Next thing, string. What is the username, guys? What is the username for connecting to the MySQL database system? Username is root. Double quotes provide root. Similarly, password. What is the password? Password also I just created as root only, right? For this MySQL database system, the password is root. I set the root password to root. Fine, both are there now. Now these variables were good. Now guys, the next step is to create an object for the driver class. Okay, object for the MySQL JDBC driver class. I'll say create an object for MySQL JDBC driver class. Yeah. So where exactly is this driver class, guys? So guys, when you provide this pom.xml file, this dependency tags MySQL connector.java 8.0.3 you provided, right? A jar file got downloaded in the Maven dependencies, that is MySQL connector Java. Okay, expand this one, expand this MySQL. So just go down, almost go down. Here something known as com.mysql.jdbc package is there under this jar file. So expand this com.mysql.jdbc. In that you will find a driver class, driver.class. So com.mysql.jdbc.driver. So I will create a string as string driver is equal to, what is that? I have to give the complete path, that is com.mysql.jdbc dot under the package. What is the class name? Driver. Just provide driver. This is the path you have to give. Now for this guys, for this driver, I need to create an object. How to create an object for this driver? Simple guys. This is a syntax. Class dot for name. This driver you have to copy here. Okay, for name driver. That is this one. This driver class. For this driver class, I am creating a new instance. That is, new instance means object. Instance means object. So instance is an alternative name for object. That's it. Okay. Over the mouse, it's asking you to put it in try catch block. I will prefer, for now, I will prefer add throws declaration to make the code look simple. Over the mouse, the new instance. Okay, and no need to do anything here. Okay, this is fine. Class dot for name driver. You just have to create the object. This is a prerequisite. Before connecting to the MySQL database system, you need to create an object for this MySQL JDBC driver. Okay, driver class, you need to create an object. MySQL driver class, you have to create an object. So this is the syntax for creating the object for this driver class of MySQL. What is the next one? Connect to MySQL database system. How to connect then? How to connect? This is the thing. This is the code we have to write. Driver manager dot so get connection. Okay. Driver manager dot get connection. First parameter you have to provide is the DB URL, guys. You have to give the DB URL. So this DB URL I have given here. What is the second parameter I have to give? Second parameter should be DB URL is nothing but up to the database name, guys. You see URL plus DB name. That is this particular thing slash QAFox. Okay. The DB URL. Second thing is username. I have to provide the username here and I have to provide the password here. Okay. Now I am getting some error. Over the mouse. For now, add throws declaration. I don't want to put that in try. In real time, you have to put it in try catch blocks, guys. Okay. So for demo purpose, I'm not putting it in try catch block because that makes the code look complex. Okay. Over the mouse, get connection. The return type of connection is connection, guys. So connection is equal to over the mouse create local variable. Okay. This is how you have to do. Connection. Connection is now ready. Now say connection dot create statement. Okay, connection dot create statement you have to say. Okay, create statement. Over the mouse, the return type is statement. Statement. Over the mouse, create level. Okay, statement. Now statement dot execute. Statement dot execute query. This is the one. Execute query. The input should be SQL statement. Okay. Statement dot execute query. In this SQL statement should be there. What should be the SQL statement, guys? I will write the SQL statement like select. Here connection is done, guys. Here we have connected it. Now I am trying to execute the queries. Execute the query. This is a syntax, guys. You have to blindly follow this. Okay. Execute the query. Select star from employee semicolon. I have to put any semicolon here inside that. Select star from employee will be fine. Okay. Select star from employee. You have to say select star from employee. Over the mouse, the return type is a result set. Okay. Result set. This is a variable I created. Over the mouse and create local variable. You say result set class. Fine. So let's say in this employee, there may be multiple records, right? When you are executing this query, this select star from employee will return you multiple records. Since we already know that there are 3 records in our employee table, there were 3 records, right? We have added 3 records. So this execute query will run this. When it runs it, it will return 3 queries. That 3 records, sorry, it will return 3 records. That 3 records will be stored in this result set. How to how to get the values from the three records. For that, guys, you have to create a while loop. Okay. So while employee table records. Okay. While this result set, which is having three records, dot next. Okay. If the record is available, next means if the record is available, I will say system.out.println. And one more thing, guys, before doing all this stuff, okay, before doing all this stuff, I will check whether here I have made a connection to the database. Okay, I made a connection to the database, but I don't know. Okay, here I made a connection to the database. I connected to the database. This is required for executing the queries, right? Executing the query to retrieve the employee table records, like this. Okay, here we have connected to the database, but blindly again I cannot say that the database connection is there, right? So I will add a if condition here. If this connection dot is closed. Is closed means data connection is not there, right? Not of connection dot is closed. That means opposite of closed is open. If the connection, database connection is open, okay, then I will print something here. System.out.println connect successfully connected to MySQL, successfully connected to QAFox database. Okay. So these things, now if it is successfully connected to the QAFox database, inside this if condition I will write execute the query to retrieve the employee table records. Then I'll create an object for this create statement, and then from that I will execute the using this object statement dot execute query. I will execute this particular command that will store the three records. Employee table has three records, so that will be stored in the result set. Right? I'll move here inside the if condition. Now I'll create a while condition to iterate through these three records and print them. So this is the logic you have to write result set dot next. Okay, when I say results result set dot next, it will go to the first record. Okay, if the record is available, next will return true. Okay, if here first record is available, then it will return true. So it will go inside the while loop. Here I will say system.out.println. I will say result set. Another command is there for result set, the dot get string. Get string of, what is the name of the column, guys? Name. First column name is name. Get string of name. Again you have to say plus here I will say hyphen. Again I will say plus append plus. Here I will say result set dot get string again. This time location column name. Okay, I'm trying to retrieve the data under the location. Now again plus double slash again plus result set dot get, this time integer, guys. Experience is an integer. If you remember, when I created the database, when I created the table employee table, I provided name and location as strings, whereas experience as an integer, guys, right? Get int. Okay, here I will say experience, like this, guys. So let's see. So once this is done, once you are done, you can close the database. How to close the database connection? Connection dot close. You have to close the connection, right? Now to check whether the connection is really closed here, what I have to do? I have to write like this: if connection dot is closed, the connection has really closed, it will return true anyhow. Okay, I will simply say system dot out dot println successfully closed the connection to QAFox database, or else connection to QAFox database is successfully closed. So this is how, guys, you can there are different steps. This is for closing the database connection. This is for connecting to the database system. This is for connecting to the database system. For this is for executing the SQL queries on the connected. So this one is connecting to the QAFox database, guys. Okay, connecting to the QAFox database. So after connecting to the QAFox database, we have to execute the SQL queries on the connected QAFox database. Okay, so we are trying to execute the queries on this employee table anyhow in this QAFox database. After that, I am iterating and retrieving the values like this using the get methods of this result set. Okay, next method will say whether the record is there, next record is there or not. Okay, so it will keep on iterating until there are some records available in this table. Okay, after 3 records are done, this next method will return false. So it will come out of the while loop. Like that, it will iterate 3 times. For 3 times, 3 records will be printed. Values of the 3 records will be printed. So connection.class, for after the retrieval is done, I want to close the database connection. So I said connection.close. Then to cross check whether the connection is really closed or not, I'm saying connection.isClosed method. If this will return true, it will print connection to the QFX database is successfully closed. Let's see, guys. This should print. First, it should print successfully connected to QFX. If everything is fine here, in the output console, it should print successfully connected to QFX database. And next, it should retrieve the table values. Okay, all the table values it has to retrieve, and then it has to close the connection and print that print whether the connection to QFox database has been successfully closed or not. So let's see whether things are working fine or not. Simply right click on this demo.java and run as Java application. Some error came, guys. I did some mistake, it seems. Okay, there is some error. Let me cross check with the code I have. JDBC MySQL. JDBC string URL is equal to JDBC MySQL colon / localhost 3306 is fine. String DB name is equal to QAFox. Okay, this is DB URL is equal to URL plus DB name. That's fine. And the password is root. Yeah, this is also good. Create an object for MySQL JDBC driver class. String driver is equal to com.mysql JDBC driver class dot for name driver new instance is fine. Connecting to QAFox database. Driver manager dot get connection URL plus DB URL, that is username password. Connection is fine. If not, is closed. Successfully connected to QAFox database. Statement, create statement. Okay, file SQL selection statements. Connection dot create statement. That statement statement dot execute query select start from employee emp loy. That everything is good, guys. I don't know where exactly it got wrong. Okay, result set while result set dot next result set dot get string of name result set result set dot experience location experience name, everything is correct. Connection dot is closed. So everything looks good, but somehow it went wrong. So it's saying the driver has not received any packet. Okay. com.mysql cj jdbc something is coming. So it's saying that com.mysql jdbc dot driver is deprecated. It's saying that it's outdated. Okay, it's outdated is saying, but let's see whether to resolve this deprecation problem, what I will do is here in the Maven dependencies, guys, you see it's saying something, right? Path is com.mysql jdbc. Instead of this, it's asking you to keep com.mysql cj, com.mysql cj dot jdbc. This is a path. Okay. Under this also there may be some driver. You say driver dot class is there here. com.mysql. Instead of this, I will say here MySQL cj dot jdbc dot driver I will give. This time let me run after changing the driver path, because old driver is kind of outdated it seems. Let's see whether this will work fine or not. Run it. This time also I'm getting exception, but not deprecation is gone. Server is running right correctly. Yeah, it's running. Okay, looks like I found the error, guys. Let's revert it back. No need to again actually work on the deprecated part. So com.mysql jdbc.driver, the old one, old driver itself. But this is not the issue. Where exactly the issue is, I just made a mistake at this URL, guys. You see, when you clearly read this URL jdbc colon mysql colon local. I have to give local, guys. I just did a mistake here, local host spelling mistake. Okay, that's the reason we are getting that error. Otherwise, everything was good. Okay, there's no issues in this. Simply instead of local host, I just give local host kind of thing. That's the problem. Okay, right click on demo.java and run as Java application. No, this time it is working fine. Okay, successfully connected to QAFox database, Hyderabad global. The three records got printed. You see all the values under the three records got printed here, and you see successfully connected to QAFox database and connected to connection to QAFox database successfully closed also. Everything is properly working now, right? This is how from Java programs you can connect to the database. Okay, execute the SQL queries, retrieve the required records from the database tables. Okay, and then you can close the connection, database connection. You have to practice this, guys. Okay, while I am explaining this, you have to practice on your own to get the things working on your to make yourself comfortable with this JDBC. Okay, from Java programs we can connect to the database something like this using this kind of programs. Now guys, next one is that let's restructure the code using try catch blocks, guys. So one mistake I did here is, so you should not be doing this in real time. You should not be writing the code like this. Whenever I was getting some exceptions, right? Okay, whenever I was getting exceptions, I'm ignoring them using these throw statements. Okay, so I should not be doing like that. I should keep all the exception codes under try catch blocks. So try, I have to say catch, exception, E. So all this code I have to keep in the try block. Okay. So all this code I have to keep in the try catch blocks. Where is that code? Yeah, just put all this code in the try block. So up to this part will be the try block anyhow. Step by step we'll go. That is done. Then let's connect it to the database also into the try block, because this will give exceptions, guys. Otherwise, okay. Up to if block. This is a if block. Completely move this if block into the try block. Now, guys, catch is there, right? Catch. I will say e dot print stack trace. Okay. Any exception will come. It will print something like this. Now, I will keep a finally block. I don't have to close the connection here. Okay. In the try block, I don't have to close. This connection I will be closing in the finally block. So the problem here is connection is not recognized here because connection is limited to this try block only. I will make it kind of global. So I will say connection is equal to null. Let's make it outside the try block, and here I will remove this connection. Okay. Now connection will be recognized here also. Save it. Remove these throws, guys. Remove these throws. Okay, let's see whether any exceptions are pending. You see some exceptions are pending here. Over the mouse, add, surround with try catch. Surround with try catch like this. Okay. So like this, guys, you have to refactor your code with try catch blocks. Okay, the same code, but I'm just keeping in the try catch finally. Finally will be executed. Finally will be anyhow executed, right? So if try catch has an exception, still finally block will be executed. If try catch doesn't have any exception also, try finally will be executed. That's why closing the database connection is mandatory. So irrespective of the exception here, with exception or without exception, this finally block will be executed. That's where irrespective of the exception, we'll be closing the database connection. Okay, to relieve the some memory from the Java. Okay, to release some memory that is holding in the Java programs. So for that, we have to keep this kind of closing parts in the finally block, which will be anyhow executed irrespective of whether the exception is occurred or triggered or not. Fine. Now guys, let's execute this and see whether this program is working or not. Just made some try catch block changes, right? Yeah, it's working fine. Successfully connected to QAFox database. Venkat, Gopal, Niharika, all those details, and connection to QAFox database successfully closed also is there. We're able to successfully refactor using the try catch blocks. Now next thing is we were getting some deprecation message right here. Loading class com MySQL JDBC driver we are getting, right? So let's remove this deprecation problem. This is outdated, it's saying. Okay, whatever the driver we are using is outdated, it's saying. So the latest driver it's suggesting us to use is the new driver, that is com MySQL CJ JDBC driver. Copy this as it is and paste it here. Okay, it's also there in the library, guys. You see, com.mysql CJ JDBC .driver. Somewhere in here it is. This is the latest driver. Whatever we were using so far was the older and deprecated driver. Okay, I have put the suggested driver here. Let's run this time and see whether the deprecation message is gone from the output or not. You see, now only the output got displayed, no deprecation message. Successfully connected to QAFox database details, and then connection closed successfully. Next. So this is how, guys, these are the programs. Okay, Java program for connecting to the database from the Java programs. Okay, Java library is providing this feature, guys. So if you go to Java 8 API, open here, control F, connection. Just search for connection. You see, connection is an interface. Connection is an interface, guys, right? So connection is an interface which we have used. This library, whatever the JDBC things we have used here, like connection, okay, all those things belong to the Java only. Okay, in Java, using Java library, we are connecting to the database. Fine. Now, guys, before I end this session, I want to give one message. Okay, this is not. This is what exactly we use in the real time. Okay, this kind of code we generally write in the real time for connecting to the database and performing the operation. But where exactly the Selenium code here? Do you see any Selenium code in this code? No, right? There's no Selenium. Only Java is there. But in real time, in these Java programs, we will also have the Selenium code. How it will be possible? I'll tell you. For example, you have an application like this. Okay. Let's say from the UI using Selenium, you may write a program. Using Selenium, you may write a program like this. In Selenium Java, using Selenium Java, in the editors like Eclipse IDE, you will write a program automation code for opening this is Selenium code. Assume that is Selenium code. Okay, opening this URL. What is the URL? This URL. Okay, get URL. Will be opening this URL. Then what we will do, guys? Navigate to. Let's say I will navigate to this register page like this. I'll click on this my account. After clicking on my account, I will click on register. So for this, I will write some Selenium code. Okay, navigate to register page. Assume that whatever I'm writing here is a Selenium code, guys. Okay, the code for navigating to register page is written. Now in this register page, I will enter all the details like first name, last name, email, telephone, password, confirm password, and click select this option and click on continue button. Okay, submit new user details. Submit new user details. When I in the real time, guys, in the real time applications like this from the UI, when I automate something like this with all the details, and when I click on this, continue button, a new user account will be created, right? Okay, a new user account will be created with the details I provided here. For example, for submitting new user details, I have given some name. First name I given as Arun. Okay, last name I given Moturi. Then email address I have given arun@QAFox.com. I have given the email address as this one. Let's say telephone number I may have given this telephone number as something 912345678. Some telephone number I gave, and after that password I have given. Okay, let's say 1234 is the password I have given. Confirm password also I have given the same password 1234. Then I selected the privacy policy and clicked on the continue button. Okay, I selected the privacy policy and clicked on the continue button. These are the details I have given while automating the Selenium. Using the Selenium code, I opened this application. I have written the Selenium code for opening this application, navigating to the register page, and submitting this user details and clicking on the continue button. Complete Selenium code I have written in this program. So when I run this Selenium Java program, what will happen? In the application, when I run this Selenium automation code on this particular application, what will happen? In this application, a new user will be created, right? A new user will be registered with the provided details. Okay, when this automation code is run on this application URL is nothing but this one. Let's say I'm running the application, this application. Okay, when I run the Selenium code on this application, a new user will be registered with these details. So where actually these details will be stored? Immediately when the new user is created, this application will have something known as a DB, guys. Okay, this application will have a database, right? The backend, this application, every application will have a database in the backend. This database will be there in the application. Every application will have a database. So this new user details will be, let's say there is a table known as, let's assume that in this particular application in the database there is a database, let's say database of the application. In this database of the application there is a table known as, assume that there is a table known as users table. So whatever the details you have given here should get added to the database, okay, in the form of the records. So how many users you create with the Selenium automation code, that many records should be created in the database. In the application means in the database also. But here comes the trick, guys. Though you have created these details, it doesn't mean that your databases, these details got successfully inserted into the database. We are not sure of that. Okay, even though your application, while creating a user using the Selenium automation code with these details, okay, it seems that the application will say that its user has successfully created, but it's not sure that, it's not confirmed that those details got successfully added as it is under the users table. Let's say this is a users table in the database. There may be some problems, guys. Let's say you have given Arun Motori and other phone numbers. Maybe phone number may not get saved sometimes, okay, into the database. There may be some issue in the database. The way when you create a record from the UI, in the database, all the values may not be stored. That's where the issue defect is. Okay, in the real-time testing, when you are testing database testing, you have to validate whether the given details from the UI are properly stored in the database or not. That is known as database testing, right? That is known as database testing. So to check whether data stored in the database is same as whatever you have run through the Selenium code. Okay, whatever you have provided from UI is same data that is getting stored in the database or not. For that, guys, what we have to do from these Java programs, we need to connect. We need to connect to this. From this Java program, we need to connect to this database. Okay. After connecting to this database, whatever the database is, okay, this application database we have to connect using the JDBC. We have to connect to the this application database. How to connect? Using JDBC. While writing the JDBC code in this Java programs, we can connect to this database. Okay. After connecting to the database, what we'll do next? We will execute the SQL statement. We'll execute the SQL statement and retrieve the, let's say here some records got added. Okay. Let's say Arun Moturi. Okay. Email, whatever the email I gave. Okay. Arun@QAFox.com. Email, then mobile number, whatever the mobile number I gave, 1345678. Okay. Then password, confirm password, and then privacy selection are all stored here. Okay, let's say the database has a record, whatever the values we are given are stored in the database like this. So we will read these values, okay, like this, like get string name, get string location, like this. We'll read the get string first name, get string last name. We'll read all the database and store it, store them in the variables in this Java programs. After connecting and retrieving these values, whatever we are entering in the Selenium, right, we'll also store like UIF name, something like this. Some variable names we'll give. Okay, string UIF name is equal to. We'll use these variables in the Selenium code. Okay, while running the Selenium code, we'll use this. Here we'll say UI last name. Like this, some values we'll give. Okay. Similarly, whatever the values you retrieve from the database, also we'll give some names, something like this. String DB first name is equal to the value of the first name retrieved from the database. That is Arun will be retrieved from here, right? Here UI first name is also Arun. Here DB first name is also Arun. So you will write some assert statements like this. Assert equals, okay, assert equals. You will compare these two things. Okay. Here say you will not say anything. If anything is going wrong, then this message will be printed. That is first name didn't match. First name didn't match. If anything goes wrong, only this message will be printed in the assert statements. Here you will give expected value. That is, what is the expected value? UI first name is the expected value, and you will assert this with DB first name. Okay. Whatever the value you entered into the application with the help of Selenium code will be there in the UI first name. Okay. Whatever the value after inserting the record, whatever the value that you are retrieving from the database will be in the DB first name. So these two values will be compared. Similarly, UI last name, comma DB last name will be compared. Like that, all the values that you have entered from the UI will be compared with all the values that you have retrieved from the database using this program. We'll write all the program in this Selenium Java file, guys. Selenium code will be there. Okay. Same then JDBC logic will be there in the same Selenium Java file. And finally, you will write the assert statements for comparing this inserted values from the UI and the values that got recorded in the database users table. We'll compare all those values. And if everything is matching fine, that means the database testing is successfully passed. All the database testing tests have been passed. This is one of the example of how you perform database testing in real time, guys. I cannot explain this particular thing with real application because I don't have access to this particular application's database, guys. Okay, the application database, I don't have access to this application database. That's why I'm not able to explain in real time. But it's in a conceptual level, this is what will happen here real time, guys. Okay. in your company when you start working, right? You will write the Selenium Java programs like this, and will, using Selenium, will insert all these values and store them in the variable names. And from the database, whatever the values, you will retrieve them using JDBC concepts, connect to the database and retrieve the values. And you will compare these values with the values that got really stored in the database as part of database testing. If everything passed, you will pass the automated test case. Okay, automation script. You will pass the automation script. Otherwise, you will fail the test script. So that's how it will happen in the real time, guys. Using the knowledge that I explained so far, like first database concepts and followed from starting from the last session, that is the database concepts, then SQL statements. And I have also explained a lot of new SQL statements in this for database creation and all the stuff, right? So, so this is what, guys, this is how you perform database testing using Selenium. Using Selenium, guys, with the help of JDBC concepts. Fine, guys, that's it. Practice all these programs, which whatever I explained as part of this first these three sessions on this database testing with Selenium. Just practice side by side. Okay, guys, that's it. See you. Bye. Hello, everyone. In the last session, I covered how to perform database testing using Selenium. As part of this, I covered a lot of topics, but I missed one thing, guys. That is how to trigger prepared statements from the Java programs. How to trigger prepared statements from the Java program. This is what I missed in this session. So let me cover it here. Okay. Let me go to the program that I was explaining. So here, I was able to connect to the database. And if the connection is open, after the connection is successful, I executed few queries, guys. Okay. I executed few queries. That is SQL query I triggered here. That is select star from employee. Select star from employee. Guys, if I want to filter the records, when I trigger this command select star from employee, I'll be getting these three records, guys. Okay. As a result of this query, this particular statement will be returning me three records. That is, one of the record will be Venkat Hyderabad 10, and second record will be Gopal Bangalore 8, and third record will be Niharika Pune and 3. Right? But guys, I don't want to get all the records in the employee table. Instead, I want to filter the records like this, where name is equal to, okay, where name is equal to, or let's say where name is equal to some Gopal, and what do you call experience? Let's say experience. Experience is equal to 8 years of experience. Experience is equal to 8. Okay, these are only one record I want to filter and retrieve. If I want to filter the records, okay, no matter one or two records, it doesn't mean. Only the purpose here is to, I was retrieving all the records. Instead, I want to filter the records and retrieve them. So for that, I need to add these statements, guys, where name is equal to and experience. It may retrieve one or two records. In our example, it will retrieve only one example. But if we have more people with the name Gopal and experience having 8, it will retrieve more than one records. That's fine. But such kind of statements which include such kind of SQL statements which include this where class and then name and experience, all those parameters kind of stuff cannot be possible with the help of this statement. We have to go with something known as prepared statements, guys. Okay, this may not be feasible for prepared statements. If you want to filter the records, we have to add where and all those stuff. That is not possible with this theory, with this concept. So we have to go with something known as prepared statements. Execute prepared statements to retrieve the filtered records, not all the records, guys, to retrieve the filtered records from the employee, let's say employee table records. From all that employee table records, I want to only retrieve the records of the matching cases. Like let's say name should be Gopal and experience is equal to 8. Such kind of things. That may not be possible with these things, guys. Okay. So for that, guys, you'll be using the same connection. So connection dot connection dot prepare statement, connection dot prepare statement. Okay, this is the one. Here you have to give the SQL statement. So how to give the SQL statement? Double quotes, give select star from employee where, let's give the name. Name is equal to Gopal, and I want to give one more thing, that is experience. Experience is equal to 8. Okay, this is the statement I want to give. So I should not be giving like this, guys, is equal to Gopal and experience is equal to, I should not be giving. Instead, I have to give something like this. Name is equal to question mark and experience is equal to 8. So here you can pass anything. If you pass the name as Gopal to this parameter as name, it will retrieve the record of this particular record. If you pass the 8 as experience, it will retrieve this particular record. Okay. Now we need to set the name and experience in this query. How to set that? So over the mouse on this prepared statement, it will retrieve you the prepared statement itself. So prepare statement is equal to over the mouse and say okay. Okay, create local variable prepared statement. That's fine. Now you can say prepare statement dot set. A lot of things are there. So this name is a string, guys. The values that are stored in this particular name column are strings. So I will say dot set string. So set string is asking you for two things. One is index, parameter index. Here parameter 1 and parameter 2. So this index is 1, this index is 2. So if you want to set this name, you have to give the index as 1. And here the name. This is a string, guys. So give some the double quotes, you just give the name Gopal. Okay, this name Gopal. Now let's set the parameter value for this experience. Okay, you are giving the query here and setting the values here. This is syntax, guys. This prepared statement dot set string. You should not say set string, guys, because this experience is not in string type. It's an integer type. When we created this employee table, we have set the name as varchar, whereas experience as integer, if you remember, right? So these are strings, these are numbers, integers. So here I have to say dot set integer, sorry, dot set int, index is 2, and the value I have to pass it to the parameter is 8. That's it, guys. Now we have to execute the query. So for that, I will say prepare statement dot execute query. Okay, execute query over the mouse. It will return you the result set. Or sorry, where is that? Result set to is equal to over the mouse create local variable. That's it. Okay, result set. Here we already have result set. That's why I gave result set to here. Okay. So now I will create the same while loop. While this result set to dot next. Using this execute query, guys, only one record will be retrieved because in our table only one record is there with the name Gopal and experience 8. So only this second record will be retrieved. All the okay, the result set will be having only one record in our example. So since only one record is there, this while loop will be iterated only one time. Now I will say system.out.println this result set dot get string. Here I have to give name plus slash plus again result set dot again get string, this time location then plus result set dot last one is integer, guys. Get int, I have to say get int, and here I need to pass the number. Sorry, what do you call it? Int of experience. Okay, get int of experience. These two are get strings. This is experience. So guys, to make it clear, I'll just comment this particular thing out. Okay, this up to here I will comment. This is the previous examples, and this is a prepared statement. So let's only execute the prepared statement. Done. Okay, only these statements will prepared statement things will be executed, so that you will not get this older output. Okay, this older output will not come. Rather, you will get a newer output. So let's save it and let's run this code, guys. Let's run this. You see, successfully connected to QAFox database. This got executed. After that, it went to the trigger statements, prepared statement. It triggered the prepared statement, and you see only one record is retrieved. That is Gopal record, whose city is Bangalore and experience is 8, right? Because we have added the where condition. This particular where condition is only possible with the help of prepared statements. Okay, it's not possible with this general statements. Okay, we have to use prepared statements if you want to add these parameters, additional parameters to filter the records and printing. Okay, so this is about the prepared statements, guys. That's what I missed in the last session, so I covered it here. Thank you, guys. See you. Bye.